Every person enters the world in a different environment. Some grow up surrounded by love, safety, and encouragement. Others experience uncertainty, conflict, or the feeling that they are never good enough. These early experiences become the foundation from which we begin to understand life. Yet, they do not have to define the rest of our journey. Robert Smith often reminds us that our past explains many things, but it does not have to determine our future. The environment in which we grew up shaped our beliefs, our way of thinking, and the way we respond to life's situation. Even so, we always have the opportunity to begin writing a new story. The first step is not to fight your past. The first step is to understand it. When we recognize where our actions come from, we stop believing that they are who we truly are. We begin to see them for what they really are, learned patterns that can gradually be changed. Your environment shapes your beliefs. No child is born believing they are not smart enough, capable enough, or worthy enough. These conclusions develop over time through everyday experiences. The words of parents and teachers, the behavior of friends, and the influence of other authority figures. Sometimes only a few repeated situations are enough for the mind to create a rule that quietly begins guiding our lives. Perhaps you often heard that money causes problems. Maybe you learned that success belongs only to a lucky few. Or perhaps you believed you had to be perfect before you deserve love. Over time, these beliefs become so familiar that we stop questioning them. We accept them as facts. But most of these beliefs are not facts at all. They are simply conclusions our minds created based on the experiences we had at the time. And just as they were learned, they can also be replaced with healthier and more empowering ones when we focus only on pain. Robert Smith sometimes humorously refers to what might be called the stuff happens syndrome. Life brings experiences we never asked for. We cannot control everything that happens to us. What we can influence, however, is what happens next. When our minds continually return to pain, injustice, or old emotional wounds, they naturally give those experiences more and more attention. The brain begins searching for evidence that supports what it already believes. As a result, we often notice situations that reinforce our old beliefs while overlooking everything that contradicts them. This does not mean that we attract negative events into our lives. It means that the way we interpret the world shapes how we experience it and influences the choices we make. And that is exactly where real change becomes possible. Taking responsibility is not the same as taking the blame. The word responsibility often makes people uncomfortable. It can sound as though it means we are personally to blame for everything that has happened. In reality, there is an important difference between blame and responsibility. We are not responsible for the family we were born into. We could not control many of the events that shaped our childhood or our past. What we can do is take responsibility for how we respond to those experiences today. That is where our true power begins. When we stop waiting for the outside world to change, we regain something far more valuable, the ability to transform our own inner world. And that is where lasting transformation often begins. Your birthright is greater than you think. Every human being deserves to experience love, safety, peace, and a sense of self-worth. These qualities are not rewards for being perfect. They are not reserved for a select few. They are part of our natural human potential. Sometimes they become hidden beneath painful experiences, limiting beliefs and emotional wounds we have carried for years. They have not disappeared. They have simply been covered over. That is why personal growth is often less about gaining something new and more about rediscovering what has always existed within us. As we begin changing our relationship with the past, we often discover that our possibilities are far greater than we ever imagined. A new story can begin today. You do not have to wait for the perfect moment. You do not need to have every answer before taking your first step. Sometimes all it takes is asking yourself a simple question: which beliefs still serve me today, and which ones have been limiting me for years. You may discover that some of the stories you have been telling yourself are no longer true. You may realize that your past was only the beginning of your journey, not its destination, and that realization creates space for genuine transformation. Your birthright is not to remain a prisoner of your circumstances. Your birthright is to grow, to learn, to heal your relationship with the past, and to create a life that reflects who you truly are. Every meaningful change begins within. And the more deeply you understand what has shaped you, the more freely you will be able to choose who you want to become tomorrow. If you would like to explore emotional healing, personal growth, and the principles of faster EFT more deeply, you can find additional resources and ebooks that may support your journey. Enter my store.